Thank you for taking the time to join us here today on Drummer's Paradise. We truly do appreciate your support and welcome you. Please join our growing community by hitting that subscribe button and turning on that notification bell. It truly does help our community grow and bring more content like this to your viewing eye. Now, without further ado,
today, we have a very energetic and a very enthusiastic drummer joining us all the way from Hamilton, Ontario. Braved the weather today to join us, and we thank him for that. Tommy Metcalfe. This man has been playing for drums for Advancing Lowlives, Damn It Goldie, and the Annie Queens. We're very excited to get to know him and what drives his passion for groove. But first, let's check out this wicked video of him killing it on the kit.
Wow, Tommy, that was killer, man.
That was
what excellent
so
footage. That
Amazing.
was great.
Such a
Truly
good drummer.
enjoyed that.
Thank you, guys.
Now, let's dive in and get to know you a little bit better. Where do you call home? What's your hometown?
Right now I'm living in Hamilton, born in Barrie, Ontario. Lived in Niagara for a while. Kind of started my live music venture out there. And yeah, right now I'm based in Hamilton.
Oh, nice.
Well, welcome home.
Right?
Welcome home.
Yeah, bringing me right back to my roots out here in Barrie.
That's right.
Yeah.
Pulling you in, pulling you back. So what were some influences in your life that got you into playing drums?
Well, my influences have changed so drastically over the years, but where it kind of all came from was, like, number one, my dad, right? I grew up in a band house. You guys know my dad, right? And just seeing him on the kit, playing with all these different bands, I don't know, it just always fascinated me. I'd be like, they'd all be out for like a smoke break, and I'd be on the drum kit playing away, right? So that was kind of my first big influence. But after that, then you got all like the Dave Grohl, the Danny Carey, all those guys, right? Dave Grohl for the hard hitting, Danny Carey for the technicality. And then as I grow older, you got like Stuart Copeland, Gavin Harrison, all these guys, right? But then through school, you got all like the Tony Williams, the Elvin Jones, all those guys. And right now, my biggest influence would be Two from Sleep Token.
He's amazing.
He drives me wild.
His gospel chops.
It's ridiculous. It's so fun to watch him play.
So good.
I love it. That's awesome.
Right.
That's awesome. So give us a little bit of your breakdown on your gear. What do you got going out on the road right now? What kind of drums you playing? What kind of snare drum you playing? Cymbals, hardware?
Well, currently I'm running all Mapex gear. I'm using my my V Tours. When I was recording a lot, I would be like referencing certain albums, right? One of them being some of the earlier Periphery albums, and just the drum sounds, and then realizing that, oh, this is the kit he was actually using. And then I found one, picked it up, and I've loved it ever since. So that's my main kit. And then I have a TRS hand-hammered chrome snare. TRS is like a Ontario company.
Yes. Yeah.
Seppo makes some great drums. So that's been kind of my right-hand snare for a very long time. And with the Mapex, it just all sounds so great. And then for cymbals, right now I'm using all my Zildjian Ks.
Okay.
I tend to gravitate towards the Zildjian brand.
I like them. I just switched to them from Sabian, and I really enjoy them.
Right? Like, and don't get me wrong, Sabian, I love Sabian
Me too.
too.
Yeah.
Right? Both make like the same quality of cymbal. There's just certain models of the Ks that I'm feeling right now, right? And then for sticks, with Los Cabos, and my pedals, a DW 5000.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah.
That is
it's I see them sitting over there.
We got some gear in here.
Well, I actually just tried the DW 9000. Alejandro from the Creep Show. Yeah. Oh, I'm actually wearing
There
their
you go.
shirt.
There's the shirt right there.
We just played some shows with them, and he had his 9000, and he's like, "Man, you like if you're comfortable with it, you should really like try it out, right?" And I didn't think it was going to be as big of a difference as it was,
Right, smooth.
but I immediately noticed. But long story short, like I do really like the DW pedals. I like the weightiness of them. Yeah.
Nice. Are you self-taught? Have you taken drum lessons?
So my dad got me my first drum kit, and he showed me a few things, but I didn't live with him, right? So between the ages of like 14 and 25, I was all self-taught. And it was around that point that I was working at the Falls View, doing stage work. And I was seeing all these different hired musicians coming in with different bands and things and being like I want to be able to do that. So I'd talk to them and kind of figure out the things that I needed to know that I didn't already know, right? That could help break me into that world a little bit.
Yes.
And that's when I decided to go back to school. So I went back for a music degree.
Oh, nice.
And
Where did you go to school?
so I went to Mohawk in Hamilton.
Okay.
And yeah, I graduated there about 5 or 6 years ago. Like I went back late.
Was it a 4-year course?
It was 3, 4 if you did there was like a pre-course to the music course. But the degree was 3.
Right.
And then from there, I went and learned like how to read, all that stuff, right? To kind of be able to just hire myself out, right? I had played in punk bands all growing up, right? Made no money. So I'm like, I want to try and make some money from this, right? So I came out of school and didn't really use my degree at all for the most part.
Just went for a good time.
Sometimes that's how it works.
But I learned some invaluable things that definitely have translated to now. So most of my life was self-taught, but now I would say there's a good amount of weight on what I learned in school. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Well, with so much information out there on the web today, where would you suggest and guide a young, inspiring new drummer to go to get their foundation down?
Oh man, there's so many tools now, right? It's so much different than it was, right? You had to like pick up a live DVD of your favorite band and watch them play, right? And like now, anywhere you look, right, there's great tools to use.
Absolutely.
My preference.
Where would you say you guide yourself the most to go get drum inspiration as well? Like
my preference is an in-person teacher, right? It's one of the reasons I went back to school. Like I'm the type of guy that if I'm just left with the internet as my device, I'll learn a little bit of this, but then get sidetracked and interested in this and learn a little bit of this. And I'll never really kind of develop one thing properly. It'll just be a little bit of everything.
It's hard to focus.
Yeah. So with a good instructor, especially someone that you can kind of relate to and talk to in person, text if you have questions, things like that. A good teacher will kind of help guide you on a singular path, right? Develop what you're learning and see where you are and kind of base what you're learning around that. And then move into the areas that you want to go into, right? Yeah. But it keeps everything kind of streamlined. So for me, at least with my learning, I definitely take to a teacher more so. But Drumeo and everything like that, you really can't go wrong with those companies these days,
you
right?
Can't, yeah.
You can find everything.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
It's so good.
I agree. So would you think Drumeo is one of the main kind of resources now? I think it's super popular.
Yeah,
most of our guests is bringing it up. It's
right.
The norm, the industry standard kind of.
Everyone knows it now in the industry, right? It's like it is the spot, right? There was also like there's Mike's Lessons, like there's all sorts of good ones, right? Like
shout out to all these people, absolutely.
Of course, yes. Like Mike Johnston was like a huge influence on like when I was learning. I had his book and everything like that. His lessons are great.
Yeah, Mike's great. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But the Drumeo platform offers so much.
Yeah, Missouri now or whatever it is, even
right.
Piano. My daughter's doing piano with it and everything. It's just it's amazing.
And you have all these like industry like mavericks on it, right? So you get a piece of their brain every time you see one of their lessons. And it's just, it's so helpful.
It is. So what do you say are some of the key elements for beginner drummers that they should pick up and learn?
How to hold a stick is the first one.
Yeah.
Proper
technique, right?
Proper
hold it like
technique.
this.
It's like, honestly, I've seen guys that have terrible technique that kill the drums and are so good, right? So it won't keep you from being a good drummer to have amazing technique.
Restriction.
But it can restrict you, and it can lead to injuries and not being able to play as long as you could with proper technique.
I always say it like, you got to try to play as loose and comfortable as you can.
Right.
If you get to the point where you're trying purposely to try to make it feel and do it effortless, you just seem to gravitate more and the passion's more, and you're not straining your muscles and your forearms and going to burn out. You know?
Oh yeah, it should be fun. It shouldn't be a chore. If it's a chore, then you're trying too hard, which means probably bad technique.
You're overworking those muscles.
Right?
Yeah, it's so true, so true. Yeah, man.
Fill us in when you started playing live shows and how quickly that progressed into playing bigger shows and potentially some outdoor festivals.
Oh boy, forever.
Doesn't happen overnight.
No, it definitely does not. And you know what? For some people, it does. Yeah, possibly, right? Yeah. In my case, that was not it. I moved from Barrie to Niagara, and I started working at the casino. And there was a guy, Piero, really good friend of mine. His band, their drummer was having some sort of health issues at the time, I think. And he needed a drummer for a show. I had never played live before. Like, I had bands that I'd rehearse with and stuff like that, but nothing ever live. And he asked me one day, he's like, hey, do you think you could learn these songs and come play with us? And it was like in the middle of Coboconk, Ontario, on a dock, and boats would come in and anchor down, and they'd watch the band for the afternoon, right?
Great.
And everyone would just get hammered and
do
their
some
thing,
fun
barbecue,
on the water.
right? Exactly.
That's amazing.
And that was like the first time I played live, and from there, they asked me to join their band, and they gigged fairly regularly. And then that's when I started my punk band, the Advancing Lowlives, with Pete. And then we started gigging, and then playing just kind of happened often, very quickly. But as far as like, we'd play some backyard festivals, things like that, some small town festivals, stuff like that in the summers. But bigger shows didn't really start coming around till years into the Lowlives. It was probably like 6 years in before we did like our Warped Tour date. And then we did like some other shows, like playing with Il Scarlet and stuff like that, right? But even then, it was like few and far between. And then it wasn't until after school I started playing with Dan McGoldie and the Anti-Queens. Well, actually, first Dan McGoldie, and we had like, it's only progressed better and better and better over the last handful of years. But it wasn't until really like I played with the Lazies last summer that it really kind of got out of control, right? Like, we did those dates with Billy Talent, and
Thousands
it was 20. Like, the one was 25,000 people, right? I'd never looked out at a sea like that, right?
Shout out to the Billy Talent camp, man. Those guys are super nice dudes.
And the Lazies, man, for bringing me out. Like, they were the sweetest dudes, right? Their drummer couldn't make it over from Australia, so they needed to hire someone, and they were definitely a little nervous about bringing a different drummer in because Andy, their drummer, is an amazing, rock solid drummer that's played with them their whole
since infancy of the band.
Since infancy, So they auditioned me a few times, and I ended up getting the part, and then I spent like 2 weeks with them. Right, every day. And the first 5 days was just us cooped up in an Airbnb drinking. Right,
keeping warm.
Right. And it was something. But we played Calgary Stampede, which was at that point my biggest show to date, which was like probably like 5,000 or 6,000 people. And that was, we were opening, and then it was Grandson and Billy Talent. But then we did the Port Colborne show for Canal Days, and we were direct support. for Billy Talent.
Oh, nice.
And that's when it was like
It's on.
bonkers, right? Absolute bonkers. And I played that show and I got off and I barely remember it.
Right.
And that's just the way it went.
The adrenaline, right?
You're so focused on, like, it's your first time playing in front of that kind of audience, so you're so focused on not making a mistake.
Well, yeah, you're in the
Right.
song, you're in the moment.
So by the end of the set, I'm like, I didn't even pay attention to the crowd once. I didn't look out and really soak in, like, whoa, right?
In the
This
zone,
doesn't
you're
happen
holding it
often.
down, right?
Yeah,
Holding
right.
it down, exactly.
You're doing what a drummer's job is supposed to do.
But like since then, it's just been going really well, right? Those shows kind of opened the floodgates a little bit, and it was very soon after that the Anti-Queens came calling, right? And now I've played a boatloads of amazing shows with them.
You guys have been busy now.
It's been so busy,
Yeah,
right?
Camp was quiet for a bit, but
Yeah, it was like the first thing I did with them was their Magnolia music video, right? I hadn't even played a show with them yet. That was kind of the first show because the music video was like a show that we filmed the video from.
Okay. Neat.
Yeah, it was a great experience for the first time because it was almost like a trial run for me, right? But then it was like right after that we were doing like I think it was like 10 dates in the States or whatever in December, and it was pretty immediate. And now it's like I'm going out with them in 2 weeks for 3.5 weeks, and then this summer for 5 weeks through Europe.
That's amazing.
Right? Yeah.
That's wicked, man. Good for you.
Exciting
you.
stuff.
It's
man.
very
Especially
exciting.
Europe in the summer is a good time.
Right? But actually, to come back and answer that question, it took like 15 years to start getting these types of shows.
Yeah.
Right? So, but you keep working at it.
It's
right?
a journey, right?
Enjoy it now. Enjoy the ride.
Have fun.
Right?
That's the main part, right?
Stay
If you're-
focused and have fun.
If you're looking for it to pick up immediately, like I said, for some that happens, for a majority it doesn't. So you got to have fun doing it. Otherwise, you will burn out and then nothing will come from it.
100%. Yes, that's right. Now, I know, playing these big shows is new for you and stuff like that. Fairly new. Do you have any funny tour stories you can tell us? It can be from back in the day. It can be from, recently.
Oh man,
It's up to you.
there's a
It could be,
decent
PG.
amount of
It could be
those.
whatever you want.
Okay, well, this one's an early one. This was with my old punk band, the Advancing Lowlives.
Okay.
We were, I think it was Montreal, and we played at some shitty pub, right? Like we booked it. We didn't really know what we were doing when we were booking, right? And I think I actually booked this one. It wasn't like a
all your
good
fault.
music venue. It was in the middle of like nowhere, right?
Tommy, what are you doing to us?
Pretty much, right? There was no walk-in traffic or anything. There was like nobody there. And I remember the drums that were supplied, like there was no batter heads, right? So it was like we had to flip one of the drums, or I think one of the drums didn't have a batter head.
So you're using
we
the
had to
resonant
flip
head.
it over, and you just don't really use it because you're going to pop it in like 3 strokes, right? And it was a rough show. And I remember they paid us in beer. And I was driving and I had to drive us back to a hostel. And I was like, well, we're not getting paid. So like, what am I doing? Right. So we decided to, instead of going back to the hostel, we were just going to pass out in the car in front of the venue and just drink our faces off, which is what we did. So we're parked and we're all passed out in the vehicle. And I wake up in the morning to like a cop putting a ticket in my windshield wiper. Right. And like the windows are all foggy, so I don't even know if he saw us sleeping in the vehicle.
He probably didn't see you.
But one of us was missing, right? Like when I went to sleep, one dude was sitting beside me, and then when I woke up, a different dude was sitting beside me, and there was an empty seat in the back, right? And so I look back and I see my buddy Sean walking towards the car very angrily, right?
Something happened.
I guess he woke up in the middle of the night to like go take a leak and found his way back into a different car down the street across the road
And sleeping.
and slept all night. He woke up and he was so drunk the night before that when he woke up, he thought that we carried him and put him in a
As a
different car as a
joke.
joke. So he was so mad because he had no phone, he had no wallet. He found his pants and his shoes all tucked together beside the car on the sidewalk.
Amazing.
Right. That was a pretty good one. And then with the Lazies, This is quite the story right here. One of the things I had to do for them on like my first night of the tour is I had to dip my balls in a bowl of beer that everyone poured out of their cans and then chug that back.
Oh, man. There's some hazing for you. That's so funny.
So tell me, is there any tips you could give a young, inspiring drummer when it comes to playing live shows? Like we all know there's challenges that come in between. Anything could happen.
Yep.
Spare of the moment. You got to be ready for anything, right?
Keep the train rolling, right? That's the thing. You don't stop a song. You keep it going somehow. You miss a couple beats, just know those songs front to back so that you can come in wherever, whenever to keep that going.
Yeah.
But also one of the biggest ones would just be to breathe. Remember when and how to breathe.
Yeah, it's
right?
important.
A lot of guys get winded because they're not breathing correctly.
That's very true.
Right? And I myself am guilty of that. There's times where it's like, I know it's like, well, shit, I just, like, this part is difficult, right? And then you get all in your head and you're not breathing correctly and you mess it up, right? Whereas if you're relaxed, it's all going to go 10 times better than if you're stressed.
Yeah, get it out of your head. Get out of your own head.
Yeah.
Right? It's very, very important for sure. Yeah, that's neat. So you played for Lazy's when they came in to Canada to do a bit of a tour. How did you get that gig? How did you become a working drummer? How does all that kind of evolve?
So, and this is where I was kind of saying, like, I haven't even really used my music degree once. Like, and I meant that more so in, it hasn't gotten me anything, right? Like, as far as like the degree itself, the knowledge has gone a long way. But like me showing people, like, I got a degree, any rock dude's like, okay, right? It's all word of mouth. Relationships has been everything to me. Relationships, you have no idea where they'd ever go, right? You're never thinking of it. It just comes up. The bass player of the Lazy is TJ. I had a friend in high school that moved out of town, and I went and spent a weekend with him, and he made new friends in his new town, and he had befriended this Metallica cover band in his high school. And he brought me over there one day, and I'm like 3 years younger than them all or whatever, except for I think TJ was my age. But TJ was from the Lazies, was in this band, right? I didn't know him as TJ from the Lazies because I was years away at that point, right? And I met him like once or twice, never really thought anything of it. So my band, the Advancing Lowlives, fast forward like 15 years, we're playing with the Lazies in St. Catharines because our singer had met some of the guys from the Lazies. And I'm talking to the bass player because my singer had said, oh, we actually played with his band a couple years ago and he was on drums. So we're talking more. And then I realized that, holy shit, this is TJ, the dude that I met when I was like 13
Same dude.
in Waverly, right?
It's the universe, eh? A small world.
It really is.
And then he came because he's married to the singer of the Creep Show. And we played with the Creep Show in Oshawa a couple years ago, Dan McGoldie. And he came out to the show and we hadn't seen each other in years. But he saw me play and we were chatting, whatever. And that was that. And a year later, they're looking for a drummer. So I'm one of the names that popped into his head because I kept a good relationship, right? We always kind of stayed buddies and chatted here and there. And then it came back around. Same with the Anti-Queens, right? Chan, Dan McGoldie's old bass player, when
Christian.
they were looking for a drummer, Christian, he recommended me, right? And then my girlfriend is also friends with Michael Krusty because they're both photographers. So then he reached out to her to ask her about it. And it's like all these different relationships have just come into play to kind of get me the opportunities that I've gotten, not a degree or anything like that, right?
Funny how that works sometimes.
It is.
Yeah,
I still got the debt for the degree though.
Yeah. Slowly chip away. Right? That's neat.
I love it. What are the key ingredients for people today to become a working drummer in today's market?
Professionalism is number one, right? A band being able to trust that they don't have to babysit you, that they're not going to have to constantly try and badger you and track you down, that you're going to actually answer back, be on time, know the parts, right? and have the personality to gel with everybody, be agreeable, easy to get along with, right? Someone that you can sit in a van with for a bunch of hours and you're not going to get so annoyed by them that you don't care how good they are.
It's important.
You just want to get away, right? So like professionalism has, like relationships have gotten me opportunities. Professionalism has allowed me to secure certain opportunities, right? And I'd say that's probably my number one.
Nice.
Great answer, too.
Thank you.
T, you know what time it is.
It's the Paradiddle Challenge time.
You got that right. Tommy, you ready for this?
We'll see.
Hey,
You got it, buddy.
you know what I want to say? Just
What's
because, like,
that?
what's the chance of this?
Yeah.
Tommy, can you show us your lovely arms here?
Oh, that's right.
It's just added pressure to be able to actually play one.
It's true love for the rudiment. That's for sure.
All right, well, we're going to start you off at 100 beats per minute.
Yeah.
Sounds
quarter
good.
notes.
Are you ready?
He's got that locked in. We're going to go up now at 20 BPM, so 120.
He's got that. He's locked in there.
Let's do 140. He's got 140.
Yeah, he's got 140 down.
Here's 160.
Yeah.
He's locked it in.
Yeah, locked it in. Okay, do you want to go 170 or do you want to take it up to 180?
I love it.
What are you feeling?
We'll top up to 180.
Okay.
Oh, this guy's brave.
We'll see.
Here we go. So let me get to 180 here. There we go. I lost it. Let's try that 170. Here you go. It's like the comfortable spot for everybody.
Yeah,
Okay, 180 one more time.
All right, let's try that again.
you got this.
That's 170.
170.
He's got it.
Good job, man.
Good job. That's amazing.
All right. Well, I hit the 170. I'm
Yes,
happy.
you did. And that's really good.
Well played. That was
Well
great.
played.
Thanks, guys.
So, in your opinion, what would you say the 3 most important rudiments are?
Ooh. Well, I mean, basically any sticking can be a rudiment, right? Like single strokes, I'd say are like the most important because even if you don't know any other rudiment, you can make a rhythm with single strokes.
Right.
And good rhythm is at the end of the day the most important thing. Good rhythm and good time, right?
Super important.
But it was 3, right?
3.
3.
Yeah, 3.
So the double stroke, I would say, would be next, right? And it's almost in the order that you learn them, right? Because like the double stroke is the one that I use a lot. And then like I want to say my favorite that I use the most, but at the same point, I'd probably go with the Paradiddle because it's like the flagship rudiment, right? It's what everyone learns first as far as like an actual pattern that isn't just singles and doubles, right?
Again, you can never forget it, right?
Yeah, right.
Never
They're
forget
tattooed
it.
on me, right? You can't lose that.
That's so good.
So what would be one outside of those 3? I'm curious.
The 6-stroke roll is the one that I use the most.
It's a go-to,
hands
is
down,
it? Yeah.
Right. I use the 5-stroke roll a lot, but the 6-stroke is like definitely the one that there's so many different variations in how you accent it, even just with the Paradiddle, right? Like where you place accents can completely change how that pattern is felt.
Yeah, how it feels.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
But where you place the accents and how you voice it on the kit can make like some of the coolest things all with just one pattern, just switching where you're accenting it, right, and where you're playing it.
Yes.
And the 6-stroke for me has always kind of been one where it's like I feel like I can manipulate it around the kit really easily, really nicely. I can get some pretty good speed just with how it's based, right? So that's definitely my favorite outside of the 3 that I feel are most important.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. Good answers, man.
Thanks.
That is. So what is a single piece of advice you can give any drummer who's frustrated and thinking about giving up?
Every drummer you've ever watched or listened to has also thought that same thing, right?
Yeah.
It's okay to get frustrated, right? Everyone gets frustrated, especially when you're pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone to be better, right? Anytime you're going to get better, you're going to be uncomfortable.
That's true.
And that is like where frustration and stress lives, right? Is in that uncomfortability. But if you do just keep practicing it, some people, it'll like, if I list out 5 rudiments, right? And then all 3 of us, they're like rudiments that none of us have ever played. One of us is going to get one of them quicker than the other 2. And then the other one's going to get a different one quicker than the other 2. People have their strengths, right? Some people have this come easier and some people have this come easier. And if something's really hard, that's just one of the things that's not coming easier to you, but you can still get it if you put in the work.
That's right.
Right? And it's just knowing when to sleep it off, come back with fresh perspective, and try again.
And repetition, right? You just
Repetition.
gotta,
Keep doing it.
What I like to, if I'm going to play on a pad or learn a rudiment, I like to either just do like 5 minutes or 10 minutes a day on that rudiment. And if you do it every day, it's the repetition of getting the feel and everything locked in, and then you could gradually increase the speed and get comfortable with it, right?
Because I see a lot of guys that'll practice for like 3 hours on one thing, and they'll get all frustrated at like this 2.5 hour mark because it's actually gotten worse than it was 2 hours before. And it's like, that's going to happen. You can only really practice something new for a certain period of time before your brain actually starts to like actively work against you. And that doesn't mean just practice for 20 minutes a day. That means like if you're 25 minutes to 30 minutes deep into this one thing, get up, grab a glass of water, come back, do it again. Right. But just that action of just getting away from it
Shredding
for a second,
it off and then
right?
back on,
Coming back fresh allows you to kind of continue on. And then it's like, you'd be surprised how many times I've been doing something hard and I get up and go grab water or whatever, come back, and then it's like I got it all of a sudden. And it's like I was doing it wrong over and over and over again. And then I stopped playing it for a second and now I'm doing it right.
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 It's so true.
You just need that mental break. You need
Exactly. Right. Get out of your head.
Yes, out of your head. Yeah. We're our own worst enemy sometimes.
Yeah, very much so.
It truly is.
I love it. Well, Tommy, let's have it. What do you got going on right now that you can let everybody know that you're excited to release and like anything, all your exciting stuff for 2025? You got some new music, albums, songs.
Well, right now, my band Damn It Goldie has just written like a whole shitload of new music.
Fun.
We're going into the studio as soon as I get back from this tour with the Anti-Queens. We're going to record a new single. And then we've got about, like 9 other songs to follow that. We're just kind of planning the recording process right now for the bulk of everything. But that'll be coming. And then, I've got a lot of touring coming up. I'll be down through the States with the Anti-Queens and all of Western Canada. And then, Europe this summer.
Right.
And that's about it.
Nice. So you brought a song for us to check out today, didn't you?
I did.
Yes. Want to fill us in on that?
So this is Damn It Goldie's previous release. We released it a few months ago now. I think it might have been the top of February. It's definitely one of our heavier songs to date.
Okay.
It also gave me a little bit more room for some extra little drum things here and there.
Creativity.
We're really proud of it. We worked with Nick Ginn out of Schoolhouse Studios in Hamilton.
Oh, okay.
And he's done our last 3 singles. and it turned out fantastic. It's definitely a little bit different than our previous things, while also kind of trying to stay familiar with it. But it's also probably our last really heavy song like this for a bit.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So if you're into the heavy stuff, this is definitely the one to check out.
Well, we're going to run it right now, and we'll meet you everybody back here in a minute.
Awesome.
Enjoy.
In my dying, I see you alone. In my dying, I see you alone. Crawl out into the universe to become a new star. Never gonna sink in the dark again. That version through the unknown. Bright black as rich, blacker than the foulest witch. We're gonna watch them burn, 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 burn. Burn this world to the ground and stand over it singing. Make sure that every room, every wall, every splinter is immolated. Wander out to still come home and restore all that lost. This is just a simulation. Onto your bed just like a coffin buried deep below. We're all alone without a self-motivation.
Well, that was some killer stuff. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that with everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. And you can check out everything in the description below. We'll provide all the links for all your cool music you've got coming up as well, and all the bands you're in. So
I appreciate that.
everyone check it out, please. And thank you, Tommy, for coming out tonight, braving the weather and making the drive from Hamilton. It really means a lot to us.
Of course, I'm pleased to be here. I love that you got what you guys are doing.
Thanks.
Right?
Mad love, man.
Thanks for being a part of the community. We're trying to make it grow, and it takes guys like you to help make that happen, right?
Of course, drummers supporting drummers, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It's some of my best friends are drummers.
Yeah, see?
Right.
And I'm glad we're friends now, and we truly appreciate everything, and only wish you best on your journey and all the tours coming up. That's great. We're really
Likewise,
excited
guys.
Thanks
you.
for coming in again today, too, eh?
Of course.
Really
Anytime.
appreciate you. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Until next time, everybody.
Keep grooving and have fun.
And remember to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and turn on that notification bell. It really does help our community grow
See you next time.
in paradise.